What if I told you that within the Republican Party, Trump's approval rating is higher than any other president, Democrat or Republican, since 1950, except for post 9/11 George W. Bush? Well, Derek Thompson tweeted just that, and we have this chart showing that, yeah, inside the Republican Party, Trump has the highest approval rating of everyone except for George W. Bush after 9/11, which I think is understandable. I mean, after a massive terror attack, a lot of people rally around the central authority figure, the executive branch, because we're scared, we're concerned, and we want retribution, justice, whatever you want to call it. But what's interesting is that even among Democratic presidents and their approval rating within their party, Trump is still higher than everyone else. So I want to pull up this chart here. This is from Gallup. Poll is the word I'm looking for. Trump job approval rating at 45%, tying personal best. Now, 45%, there's a ton of different numbers. I mean, you look at like Real Clear Politics, they'll give you an aggregate. And if you look at a left-leaning site, they're going to say it's really low. It's like 39. If you look at a pro-Trump site or some kind of conservative outlet, they're going to say it's like 55 or something. But I think the aggregate really comes down to around 45%. But here's what's interesting about that. So in this story, it says Donald Trump's approval rating averaged 45% in Gallup polling last week, tying his personal best. His previous 45% rating occurred in the first week after he was inaugurated as president. And we can see that from Gallup, there were periods, September, November, January, where he's in the 30s. And even in mid-April, he was 38, but in June, now he's at 45. This is interesting for this reason. While high for Trump, his 45% job approval rating last week is below the historical average of 53% for all presidents in Gallup polling since 1945. Throughout his term, Trump's job approval rating have ranked well below those of other presidents at similar points in their presidencies. And it says Trump's job approval rating has averaged 39% since the start of his term. However, it has been 40% or higher since late April, as the U.S. unemployment rate has hit lows not seen in decades, and the U.S. and North Korea move toward talks designated to denuclearize the Korean Peninsula. The average, the historical average, 53% for all presidents. Think about that for a second. Trump is at 45 currently. His average is a little bit lower than that. But as of right now, 53 would be normal. And what that says to me is that it's actually not that bad. If that's the average he's at right now, 45%, he's only a little bit below average. And then considering the negative press and the resistance, this group of people who are actively protesting and constantly angry about what Trump is doing, all of the bad press, basically every week there's a new terrible story about the Trump administration. Yet he's still able to maintain just below average. If you adjust for the bad press, it sounds like he's not really doing that bad. And the reason why I say this, okay, because this is my personal opinion, but look, I've talked about this several times over the past few days. Obama literally killed American citizens, and the media didn't talk about it. I assure you, if the media ran stories back to back about Obama literally killing a 16-year-old American citizen, people probably would have been upset with him, but the media didn't do that. So we have these negative stories coming out in the press nonstop, and this is from what people in the media call the Trump bump. Negative stories about Trump generate traffic. People are concerned. If you were to ask me how this all started, I think it was just that no one thought Trump was going to win. He was the absolute underdog when it came to Clinton. Some outlets gave him like a 1.8% chance to win. And then, sure enough, what happens? He wins. So now people are scared because, look, the guy is a real estate mogul, reality TV star. So people get worried about it. The stories come out saying, is Trump going to be good? And they see a ratings boost. So they followed that path. Whenever they put out these stories saying, oh no, Trump's going crazy, the stories generate a ton of traffic. But when it looks like when you look at the polls, fairly average, a little bit below average, but not that bad. And so I have to think when you consider in the negative press that in reality, it sounds like Trump's doing kind of average. And I gotta admit too, there's a lot of stuff that I think was poorly thought out. On the immigration stuff with the border and family separation, you want my honest opinion? I think Trump wanted to do some kind of zero tolerance policy, arrest all these people who are coming in, and they didn't think about what happens next. You know, Sessions implemented the zero tolerance policy in April. Families start getting separated. And I think, honestly, I think that was just pure incompetence. I don't think that anyone in the Trump administration was actively, twirling their mustache, talking about how they wanted to separate families. I think it was, hey, why don't we just arrest all these people and charge them so they don't do this again? And here's the thing. Children don't go with their parents when their parents go to jail, so it caused the families to be separated. Whereas during the Obama administration, much of what we saw with these illegal border crossings was detaining the family, giving them time served, and kicking them out. So here's another bit that's interesting in the Gallup poll. Donald Trump's presidential job approval ratings by political party. Republicans have him at 90%, independents have him at 42%, and Democrats have him at 10%. I gotta say, I am really surprised that his approval rating among Democrats is even in the double digits. I'd have expected like a 1 or 2 because the press is just so crazy. The dividing line between the tribes is absolutely insane. I mean, look at the story from my main channel. I don't know if you watched it, but I talked about how the immigration story with that little girl was essentially a lie. It was fake news. The little girl was never separated from her parents. And you actually have CNN putting out a newsletter, making the statement, Time saying, no, we're going to keep running this photo, CNN saying, oh, look at all these Trump allies in the media using this to attack the credibility of journalism. Whoa, Trump allies? Anyone with any credibility in media should have said, hell no, this is BS. And I'll be honest, CNN did have a panel on TV where the panelists were like, this is total bullshit. It's bad. I'm paraphrasing. Obviously, they're not swearing on CNN, but they called it out and they said it was bad and that it shouldn't have happened. So I got to say, I'm really surprised to see the numbers we're getting. I'm not surprised to see independents have them at 42 because those numbers reflect basically the aggregate. And I guess when you combine the 90% and 10%, you end up with around 45. So whatever that means, I don't know. You guys, if you want to hang out, you can comment and let me know what you think about Trump's performance so far. It's fairly obvious, I think. The numbers are perfectly inverted. Democrats have him 10% and Republicans have him 90%. That's a complete inversion. I hope this isn't, a split in the culture war. I mean, I really am concerned that the dividing lines between the two tribes is getting so far removed. Because I think about this and I'm like, who are those 10% of Republicans who don't think he's doing a good job? Or what is that 10%? Why are we seeing a complete inversion between the left and the right to an extreme degree? I'd imagine you'd see something like, 80%, 70% Republican, 30% Democrat, something like that. But no, the vitriol is here. So, yeah, I don't know. That's about it. Stay tuned. I'm going to have another video up in about a half an hour. I'm trying out something with this channel where I'm going to put up a video every half hour or so, starting at around 6 p.m. and going into, I believe, around 7:30. So stay tuned. More videos on my second channel. Much more off the cuff, much simpler. I'll see you in about a half an hour.